Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing today? We are in the final Friday, which is really one of my favorite days. This is really why. And Venus is the energy. And um, I really appreciate astrological perspectives. Good morning. Good morning. Because the astrological perspectives give us balance. And when we follow the energy of what the planets are doing, then we have a greater success rate because we are going in line with the energy. So today is Friday, and Venus governs Friday. Um, some of the some of the archetypes that we associate with Venus are Oshun, Aphrodite. Um, Het Haru, it's this lover energy. It's this energy of being completely open to whatever shows up at the shore of your life. Because when you understand the power, the real energetic power of love, the frequency, when you understand the frequency that love carries, you really can be present to everything that comes into your life. You can be not only present to it, but like excited about it and willing. But what that takes is cultivating Venus. Like you must cultivate Venus to be able to be with this experience of saying yes to everything that shows up. And it's not, we all everybody's in love with love. Everybody wants love. Everybody's like love, love, love. But when you understand the real fucking definition of love and how it really shows up, people don't really want that. People want to feel good. People want to look good, but people don't want to do the deep surface work that love really it requires. And love comes from within ourselves. It's not an external thing, and we get it fucking wrong because we think that it is something that is external. It is an internal thing that is cultivated, that emanates from within you. And so when you can be completely unconditionally loving to yourself, so the way we are with other people is just a reflection of how we are with ourselves. When we are at odds with other people or judging, they did this and they did that and picking and, he won't and da da da, it's because that's an example of how we are with ourselves. How people show up in our lives is an example of how we are treating ourselves. Why? Because everything is an internal creation. Everything is internal first and foremost. So, this activity of love is really first and foremost to ask you, can you love yourself unconditionally? Can you love your entire self? The part of you that doesn't want to, that might be lazy or tells lies or that is not taking responsibility. Like, really, can you love every part of yourself? And I feel like the easiest way that I have come into this experience of loving myself wholly and unconditionally is by getting a bigger picture of what's really going on. Because when I bring things only down to me, then I'm going to feel like, oh, I'm fucked up. But when I look at the bigger picture of my ancestry, what I was inherited, what came to me from my parents, from their parents, then I can understand these behaviors that I struggle with, that swipe me and knock me on my knees or knock me on my back. These behaviors are not specific to me. They are a part of grander scheme of things, that the energy it came to me because my parents passed it down and their parents passed it down, so addiction, sexual abuse, all these things that we are at odds with, money problems, scarcity stories, scenarios, unworthiness, all that stuff is passed down through your lineage. And if you sit down and take the time to listen to yourself and do the work and spend some time in solitude and look at your family structure. Look at your mother and who she was, not what she said, but who she really was. Look at her as a human being. Look at your father as he really was, not from a space of judgment and making them wrong, but from a space of compassion and humanizing them so that you can then see yourself and where your patterns and behaviors come from. Because the thing that's happening right now in our world is that Pluto is moving through Capricorn. So all of these structures are coming undone. We are all sort of scrambling right now for new ways of being and outgrowing old things because a reality is collapsing. And what will happen immediately is we will panic inside of ourselves and judge others, and oh my God, I don't like my job and I don't have enough of this. But really, if you can do the work to make yourself calm down, to calm yourself down in the midst, so you can actually get a clear picture of what's really happening, because Venus is about restoring yourself. It is about restoring yourself. And Venus is now in Aquarius, conjunct Mars. It has been conjunct Mars for a couple of weeks now. It will be conjunct Mars probably for another week or so, I believe. And so Venus is our emotions, and Aquarius is the mind of God. Aquarius is also this asking you to detach. The thing that is most difficult for me with Aquarius is because it really is the power of detachment. It's the power of being able to look at something and discover, how do I want to say this? So Aquarius is the rebel. It's the place where we break away from what we have been confined in, what we have been conditioned in. Now the thing is, the conditioning is like fish to water. We don't even know, right? Like if you see a stop sign, you automatically know to stop because that is your subconscious. So most of our conditioning is subconsciously programmed inside of us. So we don't even know when we're functioning in condition or when we are really self-generating and self-thinking, because it's impossible to know unless you are doing the deep spiritual work to get clarity, to see yourself clearly, to be able to understand the choices and the patterns that came about that made you who you actually are, right? Sometimes who we are is because we're in resistance to our parents, right? Like I shared with you guys before, my mother was a prostitute. And so as a child, I resisted becoming like her because I felt like the attention that she got from men felt threatening to me as a child. I was a little girl. I didn't understand the dynamics that were going on. So, from what I could see, her way of being occurred to me as a threat to my womanhood, is what I would say, right? But now as an adult, I get to see, like, oh, it was the way her energy played around. It was the way she lived in her body that felt threatening to me. It was the way that men responded to her. And so now as an adult, I can reorganize that child perception through the lens of somebody who is mature and reprogram that energy that I inherited from my mother and make it something that can work for me. We all get to do this, all of us, because as we move ourselves out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius, it is significant that we take on our divine DNA. And the divine DNA is always there. Like everything is divine, right? But it's about bringing a consciousness to it so that when you bring your consciousness to something, when you become aware of something, then you can cultivate it in a new way. You can create it in a way that actually works in alignment with you. This work is so profoundly intimate and internal. And it takes time, and it takes for us to be willing to be in solitude, and it takes for us to be with people who are doing similar work to heal. So one of the ways that I see this is, um, let me see if I can. Gosh, I'm totally blanking right now. Like nothing is coming up. Huh. So interesting. Okay, nothing is coming up. I don't have a story to share. So as as Venus is in Aquarius, at the fourth degree. The fourth degree is the degree of beauty. And beauty is something that we cultivate from within ourselves. And so the work with Venus in Aquarius is doing the work to determine where beauty lies for you and what beauty is. I have this incredible book that talks about that's reclaiming beauty from an Afrocentric perspective, from a Black perspective. And I do remember when I was a child growing up that all of the commercials only had white women. It was so rare to see the image of a Black woman in print or on television in a way that felt igniting and inspiring, right? Um, and so, one of the things that we get to do now is really reclaim the definitions of beauty that are not exclusive to European standards. Because when we understand the truth, that's why I always say study. Study so that you can really prove yourself worthy, so you understand things. Because when we are informed through imagery, through the media, and when what we see, it influences us. We take it on like it's real, but it's not. And so we have to begin to give ourselves accurate information so that we can align with nature's laws, right? So the accurate information is that everything comes from blackness, everything comes from the dark. You know, people who have kinky hair, is your hair is actually connecting to the atmosphere and taking in energy, like really understanding how the things work so that you're not mesmerized by the illusions, so that you're not mesmerized by the stories that are given. I was listening to something this morning that one of my clients sent me, and it was talking about, it was a Black man talking about the role of Black women. And he was like, yes, we need our women. Don't Europeanize our women. And, our women stand next to us. And, and just really saying all these things. And I was like, wow, listening to him. And I was so aware. I was like, I'm listening to a man. I'm listening to a man who's influenced by maleness and patriarchy, because women are not equal to men. And he said that because if he said the truth is that women have a greater influence in our cultural experience. We are not equal. And to make ourselves equal is to make ourselves less. That's why it's important for us to learn the truth ourselves. Because when other people tell the story, everyone's ego is going to tell the story with their own narrative as the lead. So you've got to study and understand how it works. Everything is feminine first. Everything is in the invisible, in the unseen. The unseen is the feminine. It's not to disrespect the masculine. It's just how it is. The darkness is where everything comes from, right? The black is where everything comes from. It's just how it is. It's not to make anybody lesser or even to make the feminine more. It's just to talk about the truth, the order. It's the ego that comes and says, this is more, so this is more powerful. No, everything has its role. If somebody snatched your fingernails off, you might think that your fingernails are insignificant. If somebody came and snatched them off, you would understand how this very small thing plays an incredible role in your life. So it's not to make anything less or greater, but it's to really understand the truth of what it is so that we can function from reality and understanding what is so. So we cannot allow anybody to tell our stories. And Aquarius is the mind of God. It's the original, it's the blueprint, it's the core essence. So Venus in Aquarius says, go find out the fucking truth so that you can understand how you should show up, how you should be. So when you hear people say things that are half truths and not really accurate or not going to get you into alignment the way you need to be, you know, oh, that person is well meaning. What they're saying is, that's nice. That's nice, but it's not true. It's not true because it's not in alignment with nature. So as I'm listening this morning to this brother who is a very prolific brother who talks about African history, and I love it, it's amazing. But for people to say, for Black men to say, you know, your woman is your helpmate, that is not the fucking truth. It is not the truth. The masculine is the helpmate. The masculine is the one who protects, while the feminine takes in the information, connects to the divine, makes sure that she is tapped in to source energy, does the deep internal work to understand what is on the internals so that it can be, so that she understands what's going on inside, so that she can then give the information to the masculine to say, here's what's happening, here's what we need, here's what we're doing. She is the lead, not him. He can't tap in that way. Men don't have the antenna to do it. So it is important that we understand the truth so that we are not being misled by people who are well-meaning, people who have good intentions, possibly, but it's all false and it's lies and it's laced in patriarchy and it's laced in ego and people, you know, it's hard to cut your own fucking arm off. It is, right? I get it. I totally get it. It's hard to say like, you know, I'm not the lead. I get it. But if we don't know the truth, we're going to continue to collapse in illusions and the Maya and the false narratives that are actually doing harm and not good. So Venus and Mercury and Mars are conjunct. Mars is the masculine, Venus is the feminine. Venus is the lead. The emotions lead. Emotions, feelings, right? We live in a world where the masculine has been cut off from their emotions. They don't listen to how they feel because this culture has said, if you're a man and you feel things, you're soft. You're being a pussy. So we can't even trust them because they're not even cultivating the connection to their emotions to lead in any way, because the gender stuff is not really about man and woman. It's about masculine and feminine. So you can be a man who's very, very, very connected to your feminine energy and lead from your feminine. It's totally possible. But you got to get out of your fucking ego shit and actually be willing to feel. And feeling is something that is much more natural for women because we have been conditioned to feel. So it is easier for us to do, but that doesn't mean that a man can't access it, because he can, but he has to cultivate it. He has to want it. He has to spend time doing it. So when with Venus and Mars, Venus is the inside, the emotions, Mars is the external. Mars is the external reality. And so the feminine leads with the what are we doing? What are we feeling, right? Because women feel, women have vision, women have memory. There's this book they wrote many years ago called Half the Sky, and they prove that when you give men, if you gave a man $50,000 and you gave a woman $50,000, that woman is going to feed her community and her children and change the whole community. And that man is going to take care of himself. He's going to go get a new car. He's going to go get some more pussy. He's going to go do the fuck what he needs to do, because that is the nature generally speaking, that is the nature of the male brain. It is centered on the self. It is self-focused. That is the result of having a phallus, having a penis externally. You get enamored with this external thing that when you touch it, it has pleasure. So you want everything. The subconscious wants to bring everything to that because your pleasure center is external. But women, our pleasure center is internal. So we feel good when we are making sure that everyone is feeling good, when we are in alignment with our higher selves, when we are in alignment with our divinity. It is the natural way for the feminine to cultivate everyone, to cultivate community. But when the masculine cultivates the feminine within him, then he can take on that energy as well. But he has to not be drunk with the sensation of the pleasure that comes from his penis. Because most men, the average man is. And it's just how it is. I get it. If I had a penis, I would be the same way. If I had a penis, I would be enamored with it because I get it. I'm not, I'm just saying that it takes a really significant individual to be able to master his addiction to pleasure and and overcome his own needs for the sake of others. It just takes a really significant being to do that in the male body. It can be done. It can be done, but it takes a real commitment and dedication and a willingness to not lead with their penis. So simple. So, as Venus and Mars are conjunct, and today is a Venus day, um, I want to encourage you to feel deeply. And I also want to say if the work that I do here really supports you and serves you, today is the day that I ask for reciprocity. So you can do that however you choose to. You can say thank you. You can share how the work serves you. You can send me your music playlist. People do whatever. You can send me a donation at Cash App. That's $ Monique Ruffin. At Venmo, it's @ Monique Ruffin. The moon today is in Cancer. So we are dealing with a lot of feelings, right? And with the Cancer moon, you really want to go look into your energy, like look into your childhood. Like I was saying, do the research and see the dynamics that you learned from your parents because we are part mother, part father. 50% mama, 50% daddy. You are that, right? So look and see how those genetics have played out in you, how that is influencing you. And then where does it need to take on a new reality? Where are you needing to shift that energy? And maybe be more surrendered into your feminine or more activated into your masculine. Where is that happening in your life? The masculine energy impacts your ability to start things, your ability to be assertive, your ability to be confident and trust yourself. That's your masculine energy to walk through this reality assured of who you are. That's masculine. The feminine is the internal, the ability to feel, to be able to say yes to every feeling that comes because you know that it's going to pass, to be able to love all things in all ways, to be actually extraordinarily loving because love is the curing energy that moves everything through. So that is a superpower of the feminine when she is not too externally focused in the masculine. When women are, trying to get money and they're too externally masculine focused. And because the feminine, when you are in your feminine, you become a magnet. The feminine is a magnet and it'll just bring, when you are sitting in your feminine and you are magnetic, you will magnetize whatever you can think of things and they will just show up. You will magnetize things into your reality that did not exist with hardly inner effort, just feeling it. What does it feel like to be happy? What does it feel like to be loved? What does it feel like to be desired and luxuriated? What does it feel like to be totally in my beauty, in the zone of my divine energy? What does it feel like? And when you allow yourself to move into the feeling, you become a magnet and you magnetize the masculine. I have one man, a friend of mine that I was in a romantic relationship with, and he would always say, the masculine is at the effect totally of the feminine. We are at your whim when you are in your power. We have no choice but to submit to you when you are in your power, when you are in your excitement and joy and beauty and focused on you. We have no choice but to surrender to you, to submit. It is our pleasure to do it. It's like he said, it's just like being in love with a flower. Like you cannot take your eyes off it. You cannot take your attention off of it because it is so in its magnetism. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. Have a really beautiful day. Thank you all for your donations and your love and all of, just thank you so much. Okay, have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.